You'd think building a great chatbot for a big company would be pretty straightforward, right? Well, it turns out it's actually really hard. And a lot of the time, the biggest hurdle is this constant tug of war between the creative teams who design the conversations and the developers who have to write all the code. So today we're going to look at a platform that's trying to fix that, to call a truce in that war.
So let's just get right to the heart of it. Why? Why do so many of these big, expensive chatbot projects just struggle? They either never see the light of day or they finally launch and, well, users just don't like them. The answer usually comes down to a massive disconnect happening inside the team itself. And this right here, this is the core of that disconnect. Think about it. On one side, you've got your business teams, the designers, the copywriters. They're thinking about the user's journey, the flow of the conversation. They're asking, what should the bot do and why? Then over on the other side, you've got the developers. They're focused entirely on the how, the code, the APIs, the back-end integrations. They're basically speaking two completely different languages.
Okay, so this is where this idea of a new hybrid approach comes into play. The whole goal is to create a single platform that can act like a bridge between these two worlds. You know, something that lets both teams work together effectively without constantly stepping on each other's toes.
And that brings us to Botpress. So what is it? It's an open source platform that's built from the ground up around this exact hybrid idea. It gives the business teams a visual drag and drop editor so they can design the conversation, but it also gives developers the power to jump in and inject their own custom code exactly where it's needed.
I absolutely love this analogy because it just makes so much sense. Trying to build a complex conversation entirely in code, that's like trying to write a movie script in Python. I mean, sure, you could probably do it, but you'd completely lose the story, the characters, the flow. Botpress is trying to be the screenplay software. It gives you the visual structure for the story and lets developers come in to add the special effects.
So at the end of the day, it's all about finding that perfect balance, that sweet spot. You get the simplicity of a no-code tool that designers can use easily, and you get the raw power of code that developers need. Botpress aims to balance those two perfectly while also adding in serious enterprise-level control, like being able to host it all yourself.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does it actually work in practice? Like, what does it feel like to build a bot on this platform? Let's pop the hood and take a look.
So the whole workflow starts visually. You're literally mapping out the conversation like a flowchart. Now, when you get to a point where you need some complex logic, say you need to check a customer's order status in your database, a developer just drops in what's called a code node. And what's really smart is that the actual words the bot says are managed separately. This means a copywriter can go in and tweak the wording without any fear of breaking the code. Then, you build it one time and you can deploy it pretty much everywhere. Your website, Slack, Microsoft Teams, you name it.
This whole process is powered by a few core components. That visual flow editor is really the heart and soul of it all. Then you've got a content management system for things like handling multiple languages or running A/B tests. The code extensibility part is the developer's playground. It just uses standard JavaScript or TypeScript, which is great. And finally, you get flexible deployment options. You can use the Botpress cloud or host it on your own servers for total control.
So what are people actually building with this? Well, no surprise, the biggest slice of the pie is customer support. But what's really interesting is how it's being used for other things, like qualifying sales leads, which directly generates revenue, and also for internal tools like HR assistants and booking systems. It's pretty versatile.
Now, this all sounds great, but let's be real. No tool is perfect for every single job. So the big question is, how do you know if Botpress is the right choice for your project?
Well, Botpress is probably a fantastic fit if collaboration between your business and tech teams is a top priority. It's the ideal choice if you really need a visual workflow, if you want to build one bot and deploy it across many channels, and if you need the security and control that comes with self-hosting. It's really designed for that specific sweet spot.
But on the flip side, it's not the right tool for everything. It's honestly probably overkill if all you need is a super simple FAQ bot. And if you're a developer who just prefers a pure code-only environment, a platform like Rasa might be a much better fit. Also, and this is a big one, if your project needs really deep custom integrations with advanced AI frameworks like LangChain, you might find Botpress a little too structured for your needs.
To really understand its place in the market, it really helps to see how Botpress stacks up against some of the other big names out there in the chatbot world.
This table just lays out the trade-offs perfectly. On one extreme, you've got Rasa, maximum power for developers, but zero visual tools and a very steep learning curve. On the other extreme, you have Google's Dialogflow. Super easy to get started, but way less customizable, and you can't host it yourself. Botpress plants its flag right in the middle, trying to give you the best of both worlds, a visual designer, high customization, and the option to self-host.
And this bar chart just shows that positioning perfectly. On a difficulty scale, Dialogflow is the easy entry point. Rasa is the expert-level, really hard tool. And Botpress is aiming to be that sweet spot right in the middle, powerful but still accessible to more people.
So, if you remember just 3 things from all this, make it these. First, Botpress is a hybrid platform, and it's all about solving that communication gap between business teams and IT. Second, it's built from the ground up for collaboration. And third, its flexibility with multiple channels and self-hosting makes it a really serious contender for big businesses.
And that leaves us with one final big thought. You know, Botpress is part of this larger trend of low-code and hybrid tools that we're seeing everywhere. And as the software we build gets more and more complex, you just have to wonder, is this the future? Will all software development eventually move towards this kind of visual-first collaborative model? It's definitely something to think about.